Okay, I'm here with my good friend Patrick Thomas. Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast.
Good to see you, Dan.
So this one, this is unique because we've known each other now probably since 2005 or 6-ish when I first moved to Aliso Viejo in California.
Correct.
And we started as friends from you were the general manager at a local restaurant, I guess, if you will, a brew co in Orange County.
Yep.
And then we happened to work out at the same gym, and we always saw each other. You always took care of me and my family and my friends when we were when we were visit your establishment. And then not long after that, I ended up moving. Well, actually, a little while after that, I moved to Texas. And you had told me one day that your dream was, and we're going to get to it in a minute, your dream, but your dream was opening your own restaurant one day. And I said, when you do, call me. So you called me, and this was the original OC Local, right? The one in Laguna Niguel. And you called me and you said, hey, let's do this. And I saw your business plan. I already knew know, like, and trust. That's what my business is about. If I know, like, and trust someone, I'm in. So my brother and I and a couple of friends, I think we were one of the original investors in your company. And it's an awesome place. We'll be there tonight to celebrate my birthday. And not long after, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the plan was originally within 5 years, you can open your second restaurant. And here we are within your first year, and you're already looking at the second one, which is the one that's coming right around the corner, which is going to be called the Local at Anaheim.
Correct.
And that one is, and I've been there a few times with you, it is a crosswalk, which is what, 20 yards? It's 20 yards away from Anaheim Stadium, where there's 70,000+ people. It's a nice baseball throw from the so-called Arrowhead Pond, where the Mighty Ducks play, where the Anaheim Ducks play. It's near the Anaheim Convention Center. It's just it's a killer location. Best location you'll ever have. If you open 100 restaurants, none will ever be better. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway, that's how we got here, and super excited to spend the day with you tonight. We're going to spend some time with friends and family hanging out, but I wanted to talk about, this is about powerhouses, and you started with a local family-owned restaurant, and now we're expanding to the second and the big one. So let's just talk about your background. How did you get into the restaurant business?
Well, I started working of all places. I love to say this. I worked at Domino's Pizza, high school, college, age of 20. I took over the world record Daytona Beach store. I ran it during spring break. I had over 120 employees, broke a bunch of world records at the age of 20. Most pizzas per hour for Domino's, huge sales, running spring break on the beach. It was insane.
Right.
I loved always being busy. I always liked being number one, working hard, having things going, positive sales and all these things. I finished that off, and then I saw an ad in the paper, and I'm like, I want to up my game. And Hooters was hiring. And so I walked into Hooters in Daytona Beach. And
Florida.
In Florida. And the guy looks at me and goes, you remind me of my cousin from California. And he's like, you cut your hair? And I'm like, yeah, I'll cut my hair. I had long blonde hair, So he's like, cut your hair. I'll get you a job. And I went through all the interviews. They go through a process. It wasn't that easy. They do background checks and everything. And I passed all that, went into training, worked in Daytona for a while, and went to Oklahoma running their store. I got a little piece of America. It's not very thrilled about Oklahoma. And I had an opportunity to come out to Newport Beach, California, and I took it. And I went out there and I ran the 2-story on the water for about 5-6 years. Loved doing that. It was a great experience. Moved on, created my own construction company at one point, still have a license, still do that stuff. I used to do it. And then you found me. I was at Stadium Brewing in Aliso Viejo. I took a defunct restaurant that was doing about $35,000 a week. And a few years, I turned it around. It was doing over 150. Took over all their restaurants.
How much of that was from my friends and family?
A good portion of it. A good portion, especially at late at night.
Yep.
And then I rebranded all their restaurants and all their bars. And I sat back one day and I just said, why am I making somebody else all this money? My real passion is doing this. I love doing this. And I had some ideas about how I wanted to make the business better that I wasn't willing to share with the people I was working for because I've already done enough and I was ready to go on my own. So I worked double, and a lot of people don't know this, but I actually ran my construction company early morning, weekends, while I was running 3 restaurants on a salary, and saved my money to buy a house. And then I sold that house, took the equity, and launched OC Local Taproom and my own concept. And I developed everything. And then I went out there and actively found the partners and investors and built it.
So before you get to OC Local, because that's the key to this whole thing,
yeah.
Stadium Brewery. So anyone who knows Patrick would tell you he's one of the nicest guys ever. And you are. We've been friends. You just spent last summer with me in Dallas and on the boat and hanging out with my family and my friends. But your hospitality is just bar none better than anyone else. So 9 out of 10 times when I would show up, it'd be in a suit with a bunch of work people. But maybe on that Sunday, I'd come in a tank top and shorts and flip flops, and it didn't matter. You always took care of me, my friends. You always were like, hey. And I see you do this with everyone else. So I've seen you at the restaurant when you're working, and it's like you're the maestro. You see 10 tables, you make sure all 10 tables feel like they're the only table there. And I think that's ultimately what's made you so successful. That's just coming from a civilian patron, I guess, if you will, of being at restaurants. But we get to so that's you. So congratulations for just being a genuine, good-hearted guy.
Yeah, it's hospitality. So our job is to take care of the guests,
but it's
and
real
make them
too.
feel comfortable and enjoy. Yeah, it is real because I actually do enjoy it myself.
When you came to Dallas, and there were about 7 or 8 of our investors that from Dallas, and we went and we were just kind of scoping out the other places because maybe one day we'll have a Dallas local, and we went to a couple of restaurants, and they were like, "Dude, is he for real?" And as a compliment, they were like, "He goes up." You started becoming friends with the bartenders, with the waitresses, with the bar owners. They were telling me afterwards, "Where's your buddy? Where's your buddy?" Like you'd go in there within 30 minutes, made an impact. They all knew who you were. So I think it's pretty cool because you could tell when there's someone's putting a gimmick on. I've got a lot of gimmicky friends, and you could tell where you're just like, I just want to know everyone. We went to that small little brewery.
Yeah.
In Grapevine.
Just me and you.
Yeah. And we were sitting there. Next thing you know, we're doing a tour.
Yeah, we're in a tour.
And we're getting a tour of the place. I live there, and I didn't even know existed. And it's probably a mile from my house.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're like talking to the owner. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So OC Local.
OC Local. So
you get the money. You sell your house.
When I was sitting there as an operations director, I just saw a lot of faults and things I thought we could do better in a new concept. So I wanted to realize in California, it's difficult to do business, especially owning a restaurant. The taxes, the payroll, the lawsuits. So what I wanted to do is create something that was all local, that made people had a piece of, like, it's all the local breweries. It's the distilled spirits from California. It's the wines made in California. If we can't source those products, then we'll outsource, obviously like the vodka that we're doing with you. That's
here, Golden Eagle.
Yeah. Golden Eagle. I mean, it makes a great espresso martini, and people are just crushing it. So my idea was to bring in all the local breweries under one roof, so you're not going all over the place. You can have some of the greatest beer made in that place in one place, and some of the greatest wines and obviously spirits too. And also each store will be different depending on the demographics. But that OC Local is what I wanted to do. And then I didn't want to deal with the kitchen because that's not my passion. I'm not a chef. Yeah, I can cook. Yeah, I can design a menu. Yes, I can run a food cost.
There's less margins too. Right?
Yes. Yep. And so by eliminating me running the kitchen and putting that on my staff, I'm able to run a much lower cost as far as labor, workman's comp. So I've eliminated that, and we take a percentage of the sales, which has helped us incredibly maintain. Well, we own the bar, which is the most profitable. And then we run a micro labor on that. So it's really great. But what's awesome is to watch all these families and people come in and enjoy it and know that there's a place they can go and they're getting the best that Orange County has to offer. If you're into craft beer, there's no better place to go than OC Local. And it's a great feeling in how it's all come together and it's growing.
My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law and mother-in-law were at OC Local a few months ago, and they wanted to see it for the first time. They've heard me talk about it forever. And I get a text about an hour later, and they're like, "Best wings we've ever had in our life." I don't go there and go for the wings. I go there for the experience and for the drinks and whatnot. And you have great tacos, but they love the wings and they love the margaritas. I've never had a margarita there, and they loved it. So it's pretty cool. My younger brother, who is an investor in both the first and the second restaurant, he's local, so he's there a lot, and it's such a great spot. So kudos to having the great OC Local. I love it, man. It's crazy. I invest in a restaurant now too, and then I move. Actually, I moved first and then I invested, right? So anytime I go to Orange County, all the places you can be in Southern California, and I'm always find myself at your spot. Pretty much from when I show up to when you guys turn off the lights. Right? And tonight I'll make sure we do a quick little tour so we can put it on this with the with your freezer and you can kind of do a walkthrough. Hey, thanks for watching the Powerhouse Podcast. If you want to hear more about Pig or want to learn how to be an investor, DM me the word pig. Thanks. Now back to the show. So talk about the soon-to-be grand opening. Very exciting. Local at Anaheim.
Yeah, so we've rebranded, and what I did is I wanted to. OC Local Taproom is a great name, but as we expand, it won't be a great name in a different county or even in Dallas, for instance. You're not going to want to go to OC Local. The idea behind local is that whatever city we're in, we're going to bring in the local that's there.
That's the local.
So when we go to some county, like we'll go to Inland Empire next. When we do, the local at wherever in IE, it'll be their breweries, their stuff, some of the same things we have, very similar concept. Dallas, we want to bring in their breweries, their wines, their vodkas,
right.
Like all that stuff. So you get this feeling like when you go to a city, it's always going to be like, I'm going to the most local thing there is. The second store was just fell on my lap accidentally. A very good friend of mine's like, hey, Pat, I got this great location. It's a good deal. You need to see this. And I was like, well, it's kind of far. I don't want to do that. I'm really, just got here. I walked in there and was like, I'm sold. I looked at the stadium through the windows and I'm like, I would be nuts not to take this deal and I need to get on this. So I went for it. I developed the plan and executed it. And here we are. Like you said, it's a stone throw. It's in a brand new building. It's under 330 luxury apartments, 2,500 residents within a quarter mile of us. We have 5 hotels down the street, the hospital too. There's so much business and commerce in that area. The street alone has over 55,000 cars driving by it a day. We have 100 parking spaces behind the building. It's just a win-win, and it makes sense to launch the brand. So when I rebranded, I wanted everything to be, like I told you again, I want to do the city and the at local, and I wanted to take Taproom off because we offer so much more than just beer.
Yeah. And
people have a stigmatism, right? When you tell your wife, hey, I want to go to the Taproom, they're like, oh, I don't want beer.
True. It is very true.
Now you're like, no.
My wife. My wife only drinks beer.
They have cocktails. They have wine. They
right.
have a lot for you to enjoy besides that.
Sure.
And that's the idea, is to give all that in there. And it's exciting. And this coming up opening is going to be fantastic, man. It's a brand new, first time I've ever had to do a tilt up from scratch design, which gives us the design we want to operate the best we can, which is exciting. And I can't wait to meet all the baseball players and hockey players and all the famous people come through there too.
Are you more nervous, more excited, there's got to be a little bit of all of it, right? Anxious?
It's all. I'm super excited. It's nervous too. There's a lot at stake for this. But I also, the excitement for me is that this is the store that puts my product on the map.
Right.
Makes me where I'm on the map and everybody's radar, and they're like, oh my God, look at this. And my model is going to thrive in that situation where the sales are there, and it's just like a perfect storm for me. Like once it comes across, it launches this brand into like nonstop growing.
So I know you as a grinder, right? And I think that's why we have a lot of discipline and a lot of similarities, right?
Yep.
From physical fitness to our work stuff and our family stuff, but you're always grinding. Almost every time I talk to you, you're going from a meeting to a meeting, from the restaurant to a restaurant. Okay. How are you able to, and I think I know the answer is you trust your current management team to handle one while you're at the other, but how are you going to be able to manage and oversee one very established restaurant and then one, it has to be established pretty soon?
I have a good team. I've recruited and I've developed managers under us in the current store in the last year and a half that are able to move on and take on other new stores. So we have team members that we can actually trust that are in there. It's all about delegation to them and follow up on what they're doing. So I'm constantly in my phone, like delegating the tasks, and then I'm setting a mark that I got to follow up with them and make sure they executed them. So I can't be in every place at once.
Of course.
I do plan on being over at Anaheim quite a bit because the volume it's going to do is pretty insane. Our competitor in the area is doing almost 10 million a year. Our product way supersedes theirs. They don't have cocktails. They don't have the wine. Their food is nowhere near close to what we have, and their beer doesn't even touch what we have. So they have a larger space, but I think we dominate on the Monday through Friday when there's not an Angels game. I feel like everybody in that area is going to want to be in that store. All the breweries are excited. They're like, we can't wait for you to open. There's 30, 40 guys a day that want to go in there and drink beer. They're just working breweries.
Right.
So I'm excited to see it all come together.
It's super exciting because the baseball aspect alone. I was telling an investor the other day. He said, "Why the Local at Anaheim?" And I said, "If you served red cups, beer out of red cups, and hot dogs out of that location, you would make a killing. You would." And we're not doing beer out of red cups. We're doing craft beers, and we're serving top of the line burgers and tacos and wings and everything else. It's a great opportunity.
Yep. And we're throwing some things in there that nobody else has. Like we're going to run 3 specials a month that is based on teams playing the Angels or playing the Ducks, where you're going to go, oh, Philly's in town. We're doing a crazy Philly cheesesteak like you've never seen. That's, top of the line, or we're doing Boston, lobster rolls. We're going to throw it in there. So there's these new items. We're also doing a lot of stuff in that store that just brings it together. 9 80-inch flat screens on one wall. You can't miss it. The TVs and sports. Yep. I'm building a custom California table. It's made out of 220 baseball bat blanks. It's 27 feet long and will house, I think, up to 32 people as a communal table to drink at and socialize.
If only the Angels were good. You would get more. I'm a diehard Dodger fan, so it's my older brother is a diehard Angel fan, so I've hated the Angels forever, and I always will. But it's really hard for me because I love the restaurant. I love you. I'm a big part of restaurant number 2, and to know that like this is a team that they're out of the playoffs the day the season opens. It's like
I feel like they drop after the first few weeks.
I mean, when they start 0-9, it's like, well, they're done. Yeah. But they're loyal fans, and the good thing is if they're not watching the game, they're going to go to the bar.
Yes.
So that's actually a pretty cool thing. Maybe they should keep losing.
Well, I'm an Angels fan, but also you got to remember, you go to an Angels-Dodger game, right? How many Dodger fans are there?
All of them.
You go against Ducks,
Yankees,
Ducks, Kings, Ducks, Sharks.
Yeah.
Same
Sharks
thing.
Fans.
So those other fans are going to pile in too.
It's very transient, Southern California, except for the Lakers and the Dodgers. Every other team, including the Chargers and the Rams, it's a transient team.
Yep. So there's an ability to capitalize on the other team's, customers too. They're going to be in there as well. It's a great field to watch a game.
Yeah.
You can't beat it.
It is true.
It's better than driving to Dodger
It's
Stadium.
certainly more modern than going to the Hood and Chavez Ravine in LA.
Yeah.
So if there's give a quick soundbite of what you would want someone who's never been, which no one's ever been really, to the Anaheim State because it hasn't opened yet, but it's about to open. So what can they experience? What is an experience for a consumer and either a beer drinker, a liquor drinker, or a food eater, someone who wants to go to a restaurant? What is that experience? And how's it different from a Yard House or Hooters where you came from?
Well, we drive there. We drive a counter service with QR codes, and then we have our staff will be on tablets to help guests. Yep. The thing that we have is that we're very quick on our turnaround. You're not waiting for 2 minutes. For you, let's say you come in and you know what you want. You just scan that QR code. That drink's usually in your hand in about 2 minutes. You're not waiting for someone to come over and greet you. You're not waiting for them to come back and take your order. You're not waiting for them to pick up their drinks, greet 6 other tables. We quick fire. That's the other thing. Our service beats normal service. And the other thing is we hire our staff because of attitudes. I don't hire them because of their experience. I want someone who's got a great attitude, a super good smile, can handle pressure. We'll teach you our ways. And as long as you take care of our customers and we take care of our employees, our guests are happy. So what you're going to get is a better experience. You're not going to get that frowny face corporate person who's not happy. Their boss is making them miserable. But also, like, you come in and you see 62 beers at the current store, 40 something at the new store. You don't know what you want, but if you tell my staff member what you like, we will direct you and give you samples. Yeah. We have no problem with that. Taste this vodka, try this drink, try this beer. Oh, you like, we'll put you in the direction you want. We'll never tell you what you should drink. We'll help you find what you're going to like and enjoy. And we got a couple of cool things that nobody else has. We have our blueberry lager exclusively made for us. We now have our own.
That's my favorite, by the way.
Yeah. And we also now have our own, I don't think you've had it yet, the new seltzer. We have our own grapefruit seltzer, the OC Local Seltzer, and it's exclusive too.
Well,
and
I'm a grown man, so I probably won't drink that.
I specifically made it for somebody like you. I had them cut the sweetener in half, and I'm like, I want this thing to taste more like a vodka soda than a soda, like a Sprite. Yeah, I got you.
I get it. I'm just.
But you still gotta taste it on ice. It's delicious.
I'll taste it tonight. I'll taste it tonight.
You're gonna be like, oh, I like this. Give me a crowler. I'm out. I'm taking a picture of you with it too.
So I, without mentioning numbers or whatnot, I think the our group, our pig group, Powerhouse Investing Group, was a big part of I think the second raise.
Huge.
And all of us are honored, flattered, loved it. A big part of the second company is because we were part of the first company, and it's only going to grow. So we'd love to be part of the third, fourth, and fifth as we keep growing. I'm a big local fan. I'm a big Patrick fan, and I'll always be. And I appreciate you as the person before the restaurant, savvy guy that you are, and the great businessman you are. You're a great person first. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Dan. Also, as far as the investment goes, the door's closed after this store. when we get up and going, there's no other investor. It's only the people I'm with from store 1 and 2 that are coming in.
Yeah.
There's every new person's out the door. If they're not in on 1 or 2, I'm done. We won't need any more, because once we get going, there's no reason to even bother.
You've got such a big following that like we follow the first, follow the second. So you've got pigs backing no matter what.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to come out with all the other CEOs to our big event here coming up here in the next few weeks. So you can speak to some of the investors and all the other CEOs. So I'm happy to see what we're doing. I'll be showing us on the freezer at some point, and we can see what you're doing. I'll try your blueberry. I'll have the wife taste the seltzer, and then and I'll be drinking my Golden Eagle when we're at NOC Local.
Yes, you will be.
Thanks, Patrick. You're a powerhouse, man. I appreciate you.
All right, thanks.
All right, see ya. Welcome to the Powerhouse Investing Group, otherwise known as PIG. PIG is a boutique capital formation firm that invests across several sectors and industries, both startup, small, and mid-sized companies. PIG started in 2023 as a group fund with friends and family, investing in small companies, originally a restaurant, and has now turned into several portfolio companies. We have accredited investors across the country with the single goal of helping raise capital for our portfolio companies. Our community of accredited investors is growing every single day across the country. If you're interested in being part of the Powerhouse Investing Group, please reach out.